Australia. It's the country you go to when you want to have an adventure but don't want to translate anything. Now, if you've heard about Australia recently, it's because your social media feed has been full of people asking you to pray for Australia. So let's find out more about the crisis happening down under in our recurring segment. If you don't know, now you know. Like many places around the world, Australia has an annual fire season. But thanks to climate change, this year it's gone from being a season to a never-ending nightmare.
Halfway across the world, a catastrophic situation is playing out in Australia, where massive wildfires are forcing thousands of people from their homes.
We knew the wildfires in California were huge in 2018. And last year, the fires in the Amazon were even bigger. But since September, the fires here in Australia have already burned more than 3 times both those events combined.
Firefighters facing a relentless battle. Skies thick with smoke and glaring orange. The fires generating so much heat, authorities say they're creating their own weather system, including several fire tornadoes.
Holy shit, fire tornadoes? You know climate change has gotten bad when we're getting disaster mashups. Like, you realize if we don't do something about climate change, this could become the norm. Like super disasters, and like tsunami volcanoes, or blizzard earthquakes. The most disastrous combination of all, the Emoji Cats movie. And these wildfires have been catastrophic on many fronts. They caused dozens of deaths, they've destroyed thousands of homes, and they have been especially devastating to Australian wildlife.
Firefighters are racing to save the wildlife amid those wildfires still raging. The staggering toll we've been reporting on here, now an estimated 1 billion animals lost.
Experts say 80% of Australia's wildlife can only be found on this continent, and many are now threatened.
And as temperatures soared, koalas face dehydration. This firefighter lent a helping hand, and this cyclist gave water to a koala who just couldn't drink enough.
Oh, man. That is just heartbreaking. And not just because so many animals are being wiped out, but because Australia has the coolest animals you can't find anywhere else. Like, no one else has animals with a built-in fanny pack, huh? Which other country has an animal that looks like a beaver banged a duck? And of course, Australia is home to the rarest species of all, the Hemsworth brother. We need them. We need them. I also have to say, it's heartwarming to see people, coming to the rescue of animals. Quick heads up, though, and this is completely true. The koala population is riddled with chlamydia. So I'm just saying you may want to scrub that water bottle before you, have sex with it. Yeah, you don't want to get your own personal bushfire. Now, Australians aren't just hurt and scared because of these fires right now. There's also a lot of anger in the country. And a lot of it is aimed at the Australian Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, who many Australians feel hasn't handled this situation like a leader should.
This nationwide crisis started back in September. The Prime Minister continues to face backlash over the response.
Morrison has been heavily criticised for insisting that the responsibility belonged to state rather than federal government, and for vacationing in Hawaii during the fires.
I get it that people would have been upset to know that I was holidaying with my family while their families were under great stress.
Scott Morrison set out for a prime ministerial moment on the fire's front lines. Instead, rejection, a firefighter refusing the Prime Minister's handshake. Other residents heckled the Prime Minister.
Hey, come back! You're not welcome!
Until he drove away.
You from the media, tell the Prime Minister to go and get from Nelligan. We really enjoy doing this.
Wow. That is an angry Australian man. And usually it's hard to tell when Australians are angry, mostly because their accent always sounds upbeat. And I was just like, hey, mate, I'm going to stuff a bloody dingo up your ass. And you're like, oh, thank you. So Australians are angry at the Prime Minister because he was on vacation during a crisis and he didn't want volunteer firefighters to get paid, even though they're risking their lives. And while Australians are accusing their Prime Minister of not stepping up, the rest of the world, luckily, is trying to help in a major way.
Apocalyptic destruction and a global reaction. The largest Facebook campaign ever has raised more than $30 million for firefighters.
Music star Lizzo took a break from her tour in Australia to help pack meals for fire victims.
On Monday, a crew of 20 veteran firefighters from California who fought some of the state's most devastating wildfires suited up and shipped out to Melbourne.
Caitlin Ward, she's a model, and she's now known as the Naked Philanthropist. The 20-year-old was offering to send nude photos to people who made a donation to relief efforts. She posted on Twitter that if they made a donation and they sent her proof, she would send back a nude photo of herself. She says the idea has helped raise $1 million in donations.
Wow. This woman raised $1 million in donations with nude photos. Really shows you we can solve all the world's problems if we can just harness the power of horniness. Yeah. I mean, imagine if people got a nude picture every time they recycled properly. People would get very diligent about sorting their trash. Be like, what the hell is wrong with you, man? Put the plastic in the blue bin. I want to see that ass. And now, despite everyone who's chipping in, Australia still needs all the help it can get. So please, if you can, go to the websites on the screen and donate whatever it is. You can donate money, you can donate time, you can adopt a Hemsworth. Every little bit helps. But the big thing we've got to remember is that unless the world leaders take climate change really seriously, situations like this are just going to keep happening. And if you don't know, now you know.